pleasant good morning and welcome to News Hour with me, Cynthia Kama. Our top stories this morning. The Kenema District Council receives 82 newly water points constructed and handed over by Gold Sierra Leone in Tunkia Chiefdom. Amnesty International Executive Director Solomon Moses Sogbandi calls on women to take a stand against climate change and hazardous behavior towards the environment. And the Sierra Leone Civil Aviation Authority Director General appointed Vice Chairperson of the Administrative Commission of the International Civil Aviation Organization. Well, all these stories are all lined up in this edition of News Hour with me, Cynthia Kamara. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We begin the news from Kenema. In Tunkia Chiefdom, Kenema District, hundreds of residents gathered in Biwabu Chiefdom community for the official handing over of 82 newly constructed water point and improved sanitation facilities by Gold Sierra Leone. Funded by Charity Water and received by the Kenema District Council, the water point are seen as a community transformation in the area that has long struggled with access to safe drinking water. Esther Sacco was there and sent in this report.
For years, rural communities across Kenema district have grappled with the harsh realities of water scarcity. Children walked long distances before school to fetch water from unsafe sources. Women, often the main water collectors, face risk on those long treks, while healthcare facilities and schools struggle to maintain hygiene due to lack of clean water.
Because water no be there for drink for family, they be the sofa. The kid is sick there, no way to do.
I used to walk for almost an hour to fetch water every morning. But today, this water point in our community has changed our lives. We are grateful to Gold Sierra Leone.
Today, when they don't count this water, we'll thank you.
With support from Charity Water, Gold Sierra Leone has constructed 82 newly constructed water points, PHU latrine, and 4 school latrines. These facilities will not only reduce waterborne diseases, but also improve the overall health and dignity of people. The newly constructed latrines and water points in Methodist Primary School, Wema, St. Michael Primary School, Kawoya, and Sandaru PHU were cited as life-changing for both pupils and teachers. Gold Sierra Leone's acting country director, Getu Debella, described the moment as a significant milestone in the organization's mission to provide 100% water coverage across Kenema and Moyamba districts.
This remarkable achievement reflects our collective dedication and the steadfast support from our partners and the community. Indeed, it is a brighter future filled with hope and promise for the people of Kenema district.
Traditional leaders, government representatives, community members, and the Deputy Chief Administrator of the Kenema District Council commended the intervention as aligning perfectly with the Sustainable Development Goals. Permanent Secretary from the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation stressed the importance of community ownership. He urged the community to demonstrate responsibility by creating bylaws, educating children not to tamper with the taps, and make sure everyone understands that clean water must be protected. From burden to blessing, these water points symbolize a new beginning for health, dignity, and opportunity. SLBC News, Esther Sacco reporting.
Well, Amnesty International Executive Director Solomon Moses Sogbandi has called on women to take a stand against climate change while taking conscious steps to curb negative human activities hazardous to the environment. He was speaking as the National Secretary on Main Road, Congo Cross, during the opening session of a two-day capacity building seminar on gender, women's empowerment, intersectionality, and climate change for female members and other stakeholders. Dennis Fraser report.
All that thing. So now we as women now for watch for complete.
The high-level training workshop focusing on women's empowerment was geared towards capacitating participants with the understanding of key gender concepts, women's rights and empowerment framework within the Sierra Leonean context. According to the Executive Director of Amnesty International Sierra Leone, Solomon Sogbandi, although the government bears the greatest responsibility in the protection of the rights of citizens, but stressed that it was the collective responsibility of citizens to not only stand for their rights, but to protect the environment as well.
What can we do as citizens of this country to address some of these things? I heard the other day the president in a very angry mood. SLBC can play that clip where in the top but how people go be near the dam. How can you imagine that dam where the blue water down? What can we do as women of Amnesty International to make our own contributions to that of climate change? What are we going to do? This is why we are here today.
Participants who had the opportunity to share what they had learnt with others in a group presentation expressed delight for the timely training workshop, which they say had provided them with immense benefits.
This training has been wonderful. It has been educational because I get to understand the impact of climate change on women, youth, students, also people with disability. We also had another session which talks about the foundations of gender and also how to apply these intersectionalities in human rights, advocacy and programming.
With a track record for protecting the rights of women, voicing their concerns and key challenges, by engaging duty bearers on inter-regional gender-sensitive issues, including climate change. The exercise by Amnesty International Sierra Leone was informed by research for prompting action focused on preventing and ending grave abuses against women and girls. SLBC, Dennis Fraser reporting.
The Director General of the Sierra Leone Civil Aviation Authority, Masuya Robai, has been appointed as the Vice Chairperson of the Administrative Commission of ICAO, the International Civil Aviation Organization in the UN Aviation Safety Authority, and one of the Assembly's key decision-making bodies. The appointments came during the 42nd Assembly of ICAO held in Montreal, Canada, under the theme Safe Key Sustainable Future. Jeanette Anton has more.
And finally, I put it last, not for any other reason, but just to recognize specially the youngest Director General in the world, our sister. She's going to be a vice chairperson on the Administrative Commission.
With Sierra Leone's perceived growing influence and commitment to international aviation standards, many viewed the appointment of Musaye Obari as a recognition of her leadership and contribution to Sierra Leone Civil Aviation Authority. The new role at the Administrative Commission of ICAO symbolizes a new era of aviation, inclusion and youth leadership in the aviation sector. During the assembly, the Sierra Leone delegation engaged in high-level discussions to strengthen partnerships, enhance technical cooperation, and attract investment opportunities for Sierra Leone's growing aviation industry. Director Bai also affirmed Sierra Leone's commitment to ICAO's global mission of promoting aviation safety, security, environmental responsibility, and capacity building.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sierra Leone acknowledges the important work of ICAO and wishes to thank the Secretariat for a well-presented budget. Sierra Leone also acknowledges that ICAO must be adequately resourced so that it can fully implement its mandate. Therefore, Sierra Leone wishes to support the budget proposal for 2026 to 2028 and urges to do so. Thank you. Thank you.
country's participation at ICAO A42 underscores ongoing reforms and a clear vision for a modern, compliant and sustainable aviation industry while inspiring a new generation of leaders to soar higher on the global stage. For SLBC News, Jonathan Turner reporting.
While most aspects of the Sierra Leonean culture have suffered serious setbacks to the extent that some of them are actually fading away, many believe the reason for this is due to the infiltration of Western culture. Yet, many Sierra Leonean organizations and individuals in the West are making frantic efforts to keep their tradition alive. As Soikama report, the Tainko Descendants Association has hosted a cultural event in Atlanta, Georgia, bringing together Sierra Leoneans of diverse backgrounds and other nationalities to witness the beauty and richness of the Timene culture.
It was a remarkable night in Atlanta as the Timne culture entertained and deeply immersed hundreds of guests in the traditions, history, and expressive beauty of Sierra Leone's cultural legacy. The event also served as a fundraising effort to support the organization's initiatives in supporting developments in education, healthcare, and agriculture back home. Tarakum is currently pursuing its first major educational project, the construction of a primary school in the village of Matebing, Koya Chiefdom in Potlako districts. The $100,000 project was inspired by the chairman of the organization, Ahmed Kano. Leaders of the organization, including Chairman Kano and several executives, flew in from various parts of the United States to attend these fundraising events. Americans and second-generation Sierra Leoneans, many of whom have never visited Sierra Leone, were captivated by the vibrant, ritualistic dances and music that defined the evening. The vice chairman too of Tarakum, Minkailu Kamara from Arizona, commended the chairman, now called Kande Bali, for his vision in founding the organization in Columbus, Ohio in 2019. Mr. Kamara emphasized that although the organization was founded by members of the Timne ethnic group, it is open to all Sierra Leoneans who share its vision, urging for unity and cooperation in achieving common goals. A surprise guest, Dr. Sufyan Kaloko, also addressed the audience. He praised the unity of Sierra Leoneans in Georgia and noted that the Timne people's effort to revive their culture is not meant to exclude other tribes, but to preserve shared traditions. Other Sierra Leonean organizations, including Mobohandi, Tegloma, attended in solidarity with Tarakum, Georgia's mission. The female chief, Miriam Toure, now known as Yalmami Kafoe, expressed joy and pride at the large turnout. Tarakum Descendants Association International is a non-profit, non-political organization that gears to promote prosperity, understanding, and awareness among the Timne people. Soe Kamara, SLBC News, Freetown.
Teacher of Miltimagai School for the Blind, Sally Toure, has expressed frustration over a disturbing situation regarding property ownership. He complained that individuals have claimed owning the National School for the Blind premises that has been in existence for over 65 years. The board members and administration of the school have frowned at the situation and are calling on the government and other authorities to look into the said issue, which threatens the future of the school and pupils. Here is the report. Here at the Miltimagai School for the Blind, teaching is effective, binding the commitment of teachers and pupils. The pupils were excited and willing to learn new skills and ideas through the help of their tutors, which requires due attention. The school has been providing education for visually impaired children since 1956. However, the state and daily running of the school is currently unstable, with frustration sparkling regarding property ownership of the Milton Magai School for the Blind. As recent as last week, the head teacher of Milton Magai School for the Blind confirmed they received visitors who came to survey the school property, which he said was their third visit.
For somebody to come in to say that he or she owns this land is a very great concern. I would not really think that any Sierra Leone or anybody in Sierra Leone would think that kind of way, because the Milton Magai School for the Blind provides education for visually impaired children, and the land that we use now was given to us by Sir Milton since 1956, and since that time we've occupied this land, and same way to the National School for the Deaf. So it's, I mean, that's a very big concern. That's a very big thing whenever such people show face and say that they own this land.
This action has threatened their daily activities. However, Saluture is calling on stakeholders and government for swift attention in order to demarcate the property of the Milton Magai School for the Blind belonging to the school.
So we want to call on the government, want to call on stakeholders that, I mean, they should put out a very strong warning to any individual who thinks has a property at the Milton Magai School for the Blind, that the property of the Milton Magai School for the Blind belongs to the Milton Magai School for the Blind and for the education and well-being of visually impaired children, equally so the National School for the Deaf.
Notwithstanding, transportation is imperative for the movement of those away from bordering home, but access to fuel is lacking. Learning materials like brailles, recorders and computers, which all aid the success of education at the school, not available currently. Most importantly, feeding is a challenge.
I told you we're feeding 3 times a day. As a boarding school of 93 kids, every day it's a bag of rice. One big challenge we have is feeding. Feeding is a very, very huge challenge. If we know what we spend per day and what we spend in the kitchen is so much.
Even as many pupils cannot go to university, learning barn instrument has been a vital aspect and a means of survival to many visually impaired children. Equipment of such is urgently needed at the school. In all of this, the school administration is calling for radical inclusion and acceptance by parents and people in society. For SLBC News, Cynthia Kama reporting. First, with delay of submission by the government, pupils at the National School for the Deaf have resumed school, aside the daunting task of the teachers in rendering their services to special needs pupils lies the infrastructural constraint of the school. The 60-year-old structure is showing signals of needed repairs. Here is the report. Like other schools, pupils at the National School for the Deaf resumed after months of recess. They greeted one another using sign language and wore warm smiles on their faces that showed excitement for a new school year. The National School for the Deaf continues to contribute immensely to the growth of these children with special needs. The head teacher, Winifred Kamara-Cole, highlighted the significant role the school plays in grooming these children.
And we have from the nursery department right through the primary, we have a vocational class where they do skill training to empower them for the future. We do our extracurricular activities, we do sports, we do our Thanksgiving, we do have our carol service for the children to feel belong and to know that they too can be placed in society.
However, behind this significant contribution lies multiple challenges that affect the seamless running of the school. Winifred Kamara-Cole, the head teacher, stated some of the challenges that affect the operations of the school, including infrastructural constraints of the 60-year-old structure.
We need infrastructure facilities. We want them to have vocational center because we want to increase on their vocational skills. We want this place to be modernized because we need space. We want to be doing so many activities with them.
This is a reflection of not just how old the structure is, but the leaking nature of the roof anytime it rains, causing inconvenience to the learning outcome. Having teachers that will add to the already sign language teachers the school had is among the plea of the head teacher.
And we do have sign language dictionaries to take us along. But we love the government to bring in people from abroad to teach the sign language so that Sierra Leoneans will be offended with it. So there will be a lot of sign language interpreters, especially when they go to the hospitals, when they go to the police and the courts, in these public places. And we also need our boarding facilities. There are so many children who want to come to this school because some of them live fast, Botalu, Bokel, some are living in the provinces. We cannot accommodate them here because there's no boarding facilities for them.
Learning sign language is perceived by many as difficult, but Mabel Calon is encouraging teachers on payroll to come on board.
Coming here is a privilege, it's an opportunity for you to learn the sign language. When you interact with the children, you interact with even those of us that know the sign, you interact with us, you will learn the sign. It's a very good language to learn. And these children are very loving. Please, we are calling upon teachers, especially those of you that have PIN codes, those of you that have finished college, that you are saying, I want to teach. Just come to National School for the Deaf because we are having problems in having teachers.
Active operation continues in the midst of these challenges with the commitment of teachers to ensure knowledge is passed to these special needs children. Authorities of the school are therefore optimistic to see a change as the year progresses. For SLBC News, Cynthia Kamara reporting. In Freetown, solid waste materials are increasingly being stored in sacks and nylon bags placed on pedestrian median. Some household waste materials are dumped on busy road uncovered, which attract mosquitoes and cause malaria and other diseases. The attention of Freetown City Council have been drawn to this situation for urgent attention. Our reporter Alimami Jumatawali compiled this report.
In some parts of Freetown, it is becoming habitual to place household solid waste materials at public places, especially on the pedestrian medium, which is a threat to human health. Even though it is reported that the trash is being placed during the night hours, such activity is considered inappropriate. One businessman at Model Junction, Peter John, expressed his dissatisfaction over continuous dumping of waste material at the center of the street as it has a negative effect on public health.
If you send something mosquito to bite you, watch me, you see what dress?
We are greatly affected because there is no dustbin in the community. We only rely on Freetown City Council, who usually come at least thrice a week to collect the garbage. When the trash is placed on the public space, we are bitten by mosquitoes. That is why we always wear long sleeve clothes to cover our skin despite the hot sun. I sometimes wear face masks to avoid suffocation.
I can wear face masks or another
Mayor J. Tucker, head of environmental sanitation at Freetown City Council, expressed her concern regarding this unhygienic activity. She stated how Bestie Council is working tirelessly to ensure that every waste material is collected regularly during the morning hours. She further reminded the residents to refrain from placing their household waste on the pedestrian medium, as defaulters will face full consequence of their actions.
of issues that has been happening and it's not going down well with the council. And we are against that. Our bylaw is against that one. Of course, every morning we see sweepers, we see trucks, waste handlers out in the streets collecting waste in different locations, especially in public spaces. But we have some citizens who don't want to take responsibility. They take their garbage from their houses, from their homes, and then bring them right in the streets. Any defaulter, the penalty is 5,000, which is 5 million olions, or 6 months in prison. Maybe you go for the two, 6 months or 5,000.
However, the identities of those who are fond of placing their household waste on the streets remains unknown. To avoid such activity, residents must follow the due procedure to dump their trash where they are authorized instead of placing it illegally.
Well, beneath the historic King Jimmy Bridge in Freetown lies a whole world few ever see. Behind the noise of traffic and rush of daily lives, dozens of people called the dark, damp spaces under the bridge their home, surviving in conditions far from ideal. That was once a space for drainage and passage has now become a refuge for men, women, and children struggling to make ends meet amidst urban poverty. Our intern, Sulaiman Jumbuya, has more.
For many, the space under the Kinjimi Bridge is not just a shelter, it is a last resort. Struggling with poverty, displacement, and unemployment, these residents have built temporary homes out of scrap wood, old tarpaulins, and discarded materials, finding refuge where the city has forgotten them. Residents describe the life under the bridge as difficult and uncertain. They face constant exposure to mosquitoes, filth, and health hazards, with little access to clean water or toilet facilities. Their daily lives tell a story of endurance, a constant fight against hunger, insecurity, and the harsh environment. Despite the risk of flooding, poor sanitation, and the threat of eviction, many say they have nowhere else to go. For them, the space under the bridge is both a shelter and a symbol of survival in hard times. Fatima Bangwa, a resident living under the bridge, highlights some of the challenges she and others faced daily.
Some of the challenges they all go through here, number one, the area.
It is just because we don't have somewhere else to live. But here, it is on top of the gutter we live with our children. Mosquitoes are plenty. Every month, our children get sick. Sometimes, the boys in the community offend us. And when we talk, they get tempted to fight us.
Abdukanu, a youth, shares how he survives and calls for help from the government to provide them with pure water facility.
No bad, because...
Well, it is not that bad, because it is when the day breaks, I come to work at the capo. That is where I survive, because now it is not really easy. Well, we actually have water, but we need pump water to wash and drink, because the water we have here is not pure.
Ishmael Bangua, who has lived in the community for 18 to 20 years now, explained how he survives living under the bridge. Life under Kinjimi Bridge reflects the deep social and economic struggles many face in the heart of Freetown. As the city grows, these hidden communities remind us of the urgent need for inclusive housing and stronger social support systems.
Representatives from various MDAs have gathered in Freetown in a workshop to receive the Emerging Public Leaders Global Training Curriculum for the Public Service Professionalism, with the aim of contextualizing the manual to reflect Sierra Leone. The review session was hosted by the Public Service Commission and Emerging Public Leaders. Ibrahim Samuel reports.
Although the concept is relatively new in Sierra Leone, emerging leaders exist to accelerate good governance and equitable prosperity in the country by building young leaders for public service at the heart of government, creating a pipeline of exceptional talented leaders ready for decision-making roles and high-level responsibilities within the sectors. Chairman, Public Service Commission, Kalilu Umar Ba, said the Imagine Public Leaders was an initiative that would help to nurture young leaders in public service delivery, underscoring the necessity to align its curriculum to reflect the context of the country. Mr. Umar Ba said they joined forces with Imagine Public Leaders Global to improve on the young talent of Sierra Leoneans to contribute meaningfully to the country's development.
Very important aspect because somehow we are nurturing future leaders in the area of public service. We're talking about good governance every day. Good governance can only be properly placed. We have strong institutions and capable personnel. Otherwise, whatever we say is a farce. And when we talk about good governance, it's about service delivery to the people of this country. So it's my pleasure to be with you here. I happen to be one of those pioneers in trying to bring the public Imagine Public Leaders here.
The program's and learning director, Imagine Public Leaders Global, Richard Okaim, said their mission is to have a prosperous and equitable Africa that accesses service delivery by fostering good governance. He said Imagine Public Leaders Global focused on empowering the next generation of civil service professionals, noting their values were anchored on integrity, excellence, partnership, and the theory of change.
Ours is to push and equip the youth to serve well, to make the public servants an institution of trust, where I would rather want to take my children to a public school. I would rather want to take my child who is sick into a hospital in Sierra Leone than to fly the child. So when we are all patronizing the spaces, what does it bring? It brings income, it brings a lot of productivity into the system, and we are able to take care of ourselves. Reason for our goal, our vision is what? A prosperous and equitable Africa.
Robert Fefekula, Country Director, Imagine Public Leaders Sierra Leone, said the two-day session was designed to review Imagine Public Leaders Global Training Curriculum for public service professionals, aiming to contextualizing the manual to reflect Sierra Leonean context. He said both parties have committed to jointly implement the Imagine Public Leaders Initiative to further strengthen the country's public sector. Imagine Public Leaders Initiative was conceptualized by the former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf some 15 years ago in Liberia and has been established in Kenya, Ghana, Malawi, and now Sierra Leone. Ibrahim Samura, Freetown.
While the ambassador of Algeria to Sierra Leone, Hekam Abdel Hafid, has paid a course visit to the Sierra Leone news agency SLBC in Freetown. The visit was to further strengthen bilateral ties in the area of media cooperation and exploring opportunities for partnership and resource support to enhance the agency's operations. Esther Nenekama was in attendance and compiled this report.
The move is to foster stronger collaboration between Algeria and Sierra Leone in the field of media and information sharing. Ambassador Abdel Hafid expressed his government's willingness to support SLBC through capacity building initiative and resource assistance, noting that the media plays a vital role in strengthening democracy and fostering mutual understanding between nations. Hence, the need for cooperation between news agencies of both countries.
So it's kind of sharing information. You share the information from the Algerian side, and the same thing, we share the Sierra Leonean news in the Algerian agency. And sometimes when we have common activities, we share the information freely as well. So this kind of partnership between the agencies. At what time we were thinking about doing an African agency, so we gather all the African agencies in Algiers to propose a kind of an African agency, and we are always receiving a lot of journalists from Africa for training.
Director of SLBC, Yema Thompson, welcomed the ambassador. She appreciated the visit and highlighted some of the challenges the agency faces, including limited technical resources and training opportunities for staff. She expressed optimism that the proposed partnership with Algeria will help improve the agency's operations and outputs.
Quite a while, and I was brought in to resuscitate the news agencies, and part of that process is why we established the website, because before then it was just only paper-based. We are now in an era where you can no longer survive as a news agency if you're paper-based. You need to be there, and again, rightfully so, you need to be there in real time. We do have a Facebook page where we carry real-time information.
The meeting concluded with a tour of the agency's facilities, where Ambassador Abdel Hafid commended the staff for their dedication and professionalism despite existing constraints. The visit is expected to pave the way for a memorandum of understanding between the two institutions, aimed at promoting media collaboration and information exchange between Sierra Leone and Algeria. For SLBC, Estanine Kamara reporting.
Well, from there, we move over to our segment and join our business desk.
It's a very pleasant welcome to business segment on NISA for this hour. The segment that brings you stories, business and the economy and its contribution to national development. In this edition, the European Union funds the construction of a market about 3 years ago. Look at the impact it's having. It's business segment. In Small Boat Chiefdom, Kenema District, the European Union has also left its footprint by funding the construction of a market about 3 years ago. Before now, market women were suffering under the hot burning sun and even heavy rains while they were occupying makeshift structures. They applauded the EU for the facility while making plea for some maintenance for the structure and financial support. Let's join our own Joseph Toure for details.
As small number for them will be the business, will be the strange bank for do business now.
Neo and other traders had shared similar struggles in Blama, Small Boat Chiefdom, Kenema District. Although sales have not been good as she and other market women had anticipated, this structure has alleviated their sufferings.
It has helped us greatly, and we appreciate those who construct this market for us. We are no longer scorched by the rain, neither the sun.
It is very nice and is comfortable for us.
The market has become a center of business for not only the community, but nearby villages in the chiefdom. The EU team took a tour on the facility to see how traders were faring on. Amid the accolades, they raised concerns over the leakages on the roof and pleaded for extra facilities, including cash support.
We don't have enough money to do our businesses, and this is a major constraint we face. We appeal to them to help us with some cash to improve our businesses.
There are a number of tanks available to provide water for the market, but it appeared that this tap was not running at the moment the team was there. Authorities from the Kenema District Council said they have heard their concerns and would put them before the EU and other development partners for consideration.
Thank you, Joseph, for that update, and that's all on business segment. On ISA, thank you so much for watching and goodbye.
From there, we move over to sport.
Hello, my name is Francis Bernard with Sport Updates on News Hour. In this edition of Sport Updates on the News, sadly, the national team of Leon Stars could not make it to the FIFA 2026 World Cup that will be happening in the United States of America, Mexico and Canada. Sierra Leone failed to qualify after they were defeated by a goal to nil by Burkina Faso in Monrovia. They will play their final match in Morocco against Djibouti, but the outcome of that match has nothing to do with the qualification of the national team. Congratulations to the Pharaohs of Egypt as they have already qualified to the FIFA 2026 World Cup, where we bring you highlights of that match. Well, that was the match between Sierra Leone and that of Burkina Faso. Many thanks for watching and keep watching the SLBC. My name is Francis Bernard. That's your sport update.
That's all we have time for, but quickly the headlines. In Tunkia Chiefdom, Kenema District, hundreds of residents gathered in Bowobu Chief community for the official handing over of 82 new water point and improved sanitation facilities constructed by Gold Sierra Leone. Received by the Kenema District Council, the water point are seen as a community transformation in an area that has long struggled with access to safe drinking water. Amnesty International Executive Director Solomon Mozi Sokbondi has called on women to take a stand against climate change and to curb negative human activity on the environment. Moses Sokbondi was speaking at the National Secretary before a training seminar on gender, women's empowerment, intersecurity and climate change for female members and other stakeholders. And Director General of the Sierra Leone Civil Aviation Authority Masuyero Bari has appointed as the vice chairperson of the Administrative Commission of the International Civil Aviation Organization. The appointments came during the 42nd Assembly of the ICAO held in Montreal, Canada, under the theme Safe Skies, Sustainable Future. Well, that's all we have time for in this edition. Up next is Good Morning Sierra Leone. Stay tuned.
Waiting do greater peace and one more.
We don't run away. We come for better. We people that want for see what we they do. We people that want for know what we they say. Oh, we let we swallow.
We are the national broadcaster, and I am Sulaiman Baba Toure, a reporter and presenter at the SLBC. Your voice, my voice.
From the commercial department, I am Regina Bangura. You are watching SLBC. Your voice, my voice.
I am Jonathan Turner, a reporter for Silent Broadcasting Corporation, SLBC. As a reporter, I do stories on education, health, politics, and more. Stay glued with SLBC to watch my stories. Your voice, my voice.
Lucian Ganda, producer Weyus, and producer and presenter Christian Editions on TV. This